In this video, I show you exactly how I mix and master my tracks. Here we go. What's up everybody? Chris Punsalon here, back with another video. So I've been getting a lot of requests to do this video, and I've always been hesitant to do it because I'm still a little insecure of how my mixing sounds. But I said fuck it, and let's just do it. But before I show you how I mix my beats, let's quickly make a beat using some samples and drums from my newest sample pack / drum loop pack called Vivid, which is out now. Link in the description. Here we go. Okay, now that we have the beat, I just want to say a few things before we get into the mix. I'm not an expert. This is not a tutorial on how to mix. It's just a video of how I mix. Never went to school for engineering, and I still don't fully understand everything that I'm doing, but engineer Alex Tumai tweeted out one time that 95% of your mix is leveling. So when I heard that, that's the mindset that I have when coming into a mix. Whenever I'm making a beat, I'm always mixing and leveling on the fly, and I'm always adding effects, but for the sake of the video, everything is set to 0 dB, and it's obviously gonna peak, but we're gonna fix that. So here we go. I'm about to say dB a million times in this video. I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. So whenever I'm mixing, I like to decide which sounds are most important to me and which sounds that I want to stand out the most. And usually for most beats, it's the drums. And within the drums, the element that's most important to me is usually the kick. So I'll start with the kick and then I'll base everything around that. Here's what it sounds like without any effects. This is how I EQ'd it. Threw on some one knob fader to make it sound fatter, and a saturator, and I have it turned down -27 dB. And I usually like to have my kicks hitting at around -4.5 dB to -3.5 dB. Moving on to the snare. Here's what it sounds like with no effects. After the EQ, after the reverb, and after one knob brighter. After adding these effects, I turned it down to about -15 dB. Now let's unmute the shaker. I don't have any effects on it, but I'm gonna turn it down about -14 dB and pan it to the left. And I'm constantly looking at the meter on the master channel to make sure we're not peaking and to make sure that we're staying within the -4.5 to -3.5 dB range. Next, we have a hi-hat layer. The effects I have on it are some delay and some reverb. I'm gonna turn it down about -12.5 dB and pan it to the right since I panned the shakers to the left. Next, we have another hi-hat layer, and no effects on this one, but I'm just gonna turn it down -17 dB. Next we have the Vox. Here's what they sound like dry. Then I added some delay and reverb, and I have them turned down around -25 dB. Now if we take a look at the master channel, it's still hitting at around -3.5 dB, but when the kick roll happens, it kind of rises a little bit, but I'm not really too worried about that because it only happens once in a while during the beat. Let's move on to the melodies, chords, and all that other stuff. So the same way I did with the drums, I'm gonna prioritize what's most important to me in this beat, and obviously it's gonna change with every beat that I make, but for this beat specifically, the lead is the most important element to me after the drums, so we're gonna start with that. As you can hear, the melody is really loud, so I'm gonna turn it down about 16.5 dB, and it sounds really dry, so I'm gonna add some reverb. Then I want the sound to bounce a little bit, so I added 2 different ping pong delays, added some chorus to make it sound spacey, then I EQ'd out the low end to leave some room for the bass and the kick. Next, I'm gonna work on the bass. Right off the bat, the bass is way too loud, so I'm gonna turn it down about -14.5 dB. Then I like to add some R bass to give it some life. Next up, we got the organ. Of Of course, it's way too loud, so I'm gonna turn it down -20 dB. I'm also gonna pan it a little bit to the left. Then I'm gonna add some delay, reverb, and EQ out the lows to leave more room for the bass and the kick. Next, we have the vocals. I'm gonna turn it down about -18 dB, add some delay, reverb, chorus, and I'm gonna EQ a little bit of the top end out. And if you take a look at the master channel, we're still not peaking, so we're looking good, and the instruments sound pretty balanced in my opinion. Now I'm gonna throw a limiter on my master channel. I usually like to use the limiter by Waves, but you can just use your stock limiter. It works exactly the same. I'm gonna change the preset to loud and proud, turn the out ceiling to -2, and then turn the threshold to about -7. And this just makes the track sound a lot more full and louder. Then once I'm finished mixing, I'll take it to my car, I'll quickly play a different song, and then play my beat at the same level that I was playing the last song at and see how it matches up to that, and then adjust accordingly. And I know this is gonna sound super ignorant, but I don't master my tracks because one, I don't know how to, and two, I just don't really feel like learning how to do that right now. The way that I'm mixing and adding the limiter on my master channel makes my beats sound good, and I think they're good enough to put out, so that's why I just haven't dove into mastering yet. So, and that is going to conclude today's video. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please hit that thumbs up button, and if you're not subscribed to the channel already, go ahead and hit subscribe. I do upload videos on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The sample and drum loop that I used in today's video is from my newest sample and drum loop pack called Vivid. It comes with 20 different samples, all the MIDI files and stems included. It comes with 20 different drum loops. All of the MIDI files and stems are included for that as well. And it's 100% royalty free. It's now available on my website. You can click the link in the description in the pinned comment, or you can just head to chrispunsalon.com. Obviously, for all my Patreon people, you guys get discounts to the kit. So if you're not signed up for the Patreon and you want to get a discount on anything on my website, go and sign up for the Patreon and then go and cop some stuff on my website. Question of the day: how long have you been making beats? Let me know in the comments below. I'm interested to hear how long you guys have been creating for. That's all I got for you guys today. Thank you guys so much for paying attention. Please pay your producers, and I'll see you guys in the next video. DB, 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 DB.